For professional social network, LinkedIn is the largest business-oriented network website geared specifically towards professionals. It has over 500 million members in over 200 countries. A professionally written LinkedIn profile allows you to create an online professional brand which can help open doors to opportunities and networks that you may not have been able to do or be aware of without the help of social media. The platform gives you the ability to showcase your profile, expertise, recommendations, and connections. Well, our guest, Gloria Edozien, will be speaking on social network platforms as a tool for professional value and more. Well, a very good morning to you, Glory. I have to say, I've been looking forward to speaking to you about this because especially in my experience of being in the nitty-gritty life of looking for employment and fighting for opportunities, I was always told or felt like my social media had to be private. Nobody could see what I was getting up to because if they knew the real me, somehow that doesn't translate into professionalism and I wouldn't get the job I deserve. But you're saying it's actually the opposite. Tell us how social media can be a positive thing for professionals.
Well, it's counterintuitive, isn't it? So you're on social media basically to get seen, to get known, to demonstrate professional credibility. And so if you are on social media and you're private, it means nobody can see you. I think right now what is happening, especially with coronavirus, is that professionals now are seeing the need to build professional brands, to demonstrate competency. And LinkedIn and various social networks are really the best place to do that.
All right, let me ask you this. You talked about writing a professional LinkedIn profile to create a selling brand that will attract patronage. That's what this is all about, after all. So how do you do this? How do you write a professional LinkedIn profile that will create a brand that sells to pull people towards you?
Well, it's all about skills. So if you look at Instagram, for example, it's all about pictures. The kind of pictures that you put attracts people to you. On LinkedIn, it's all about skills. So what professionals need to do now is not just talk about the length of their experience, but talk about the depth of the experience. What you've been working for 15 years, what are the core skills? What are the outcomes of those skills that you've been deploying in a professional capacity? So for example, you're a journalist. What are the skills that you've been building? Maybe digital strategy, digital marketing, investigative reporting. Those are the kind of things that get you noticed on LinkedIn. So when you're building a professional profile, it's no longer about the length of your experience or your job title. It's about demonstrating your skill, but also letting employers and potential recruiters know what those skills have been providing for the organizations as business outcomes.
500 million users in more than 200 countries. Goodness gracious, how are they going to see Adefemi Akinsoyan's experience? How can you stand out in a sea of all of these amazing applicants who have their qualifications blazing out there? You do feel, as Indy was saying, that a bit of an imposter. How can I even compete with all of these fantastic candidates? How do you think somebody can stand out in social media in a professional basis there?
So I have what I call the triple threats. So the first is what I've discussed, right? Making sure that your profile includes your core skill. The second is your network, building a network around the people who can help you achieve your career goals. So being very strategic about the people that you are connecting with on LinkedIn. And the third and the most important is content. So creating content that demonstrates your expertise, that showcases your experience. I think these three things can really help you stand out on LinkedIn.
Glory, one can never be the best copycat, ever. You can never be the best copycat. You can only be the best in the area of your charisma. We'll talk about imposter syndrome. What do we really yeah.
So imposter syndrome is the case where, you are a professional, you've been doing great in your career, you've been contributing to professional outcomes and business outcomes, but yet you don't see your own value, right? So you feel like you're an imposter, and this holds you back from pitching yourself for further opportunities. So that is what imposter syndrome is really about.
So how do you walk around not letting that, shortchange you, not letting that limit you, not let that stop you from moving ahead?
Well, it's about, first of all, documenting your skills. So I find that a lot of professionals are going from one achievement to the other without taking time to reflect and understand what the core competencies that they've used to achieve certain things in the professional world. So what I always advise my clients is, first of all, understand the skills that help you to be successful. Own those skills. Write down your achievements. Document your achievements. Share your achievements, right? Pitch yourself in light of those achievements. And that will help you to start building confidence. So a lot of times people think that confidence is like fairy dust. You know, just be confident and just be confident. No, confidence is a muscle.
It builds.
It doesn't work like that.
You have to carry iron.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like building your bicep, which I do, you know.
Exactly.
So you have to do that. All right, go on.
Go ahead.
Go on.
So it's about, once you understand your core competencies and your core skills, and you're constantly pitching yourself and using those skills, you begin to build confidence. Like you said, you begin to carry those muscles, right? Carry those weights and pump iron. And that builds confidence so that you are now intrinsically aware of the value you add to organizations.
I mean, still on the topic of imposter syndrome, it is, I mean, I don't, let me talk about myself and say that if I refer back to my time in the UK and working in different organizations in different industries, as a first-generation immigrant, these are great and fantastic wins to make yourself proud, to make your family proud. However, as you've said, there have been many times where I will be in a white-dominated space and feel like, even though I had the qualifications and I had the experience and I am brilliant, I deserve to be here, still in the back of your mind, many people feel as though, like, perhaps one day somebody's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, oh, you shouldn't actually be here. And I think that is a real fear many people have across the world. So it's one thing to say that you need to build your confidence to understand that you deserve to be there, but there are people who are aware that they are confident and that they do deserve to be there, but there's still something in them that makes them feel like out of nowhere, the rug is going to be pulled underneath them and they'll be taken down to where they really belong. How aside from confidence, what else can somebody do to build their strength and bravado in the professional space without crossing over into arrogance? Because, well, we can say that confidence is a good thing. You also don't want to be perceived as an arrogant person, because then it's very difficult, most especially if you're a woman, to continue to succeed in the professional world if people find you to be brash or arrogant or a bit too overconfident. So how can somebody walk that tightrope?
So it is a very, very tightrope, like you said. But the first thing I would say is I find that a lot of women are plagued with something I called negative self-talk. So you're constantly feeling someone is going to tap you on the shoulder, but nobody has ever tapped you on the shoulder.
Exactly.
Right? So you're constantly feeling that way. So what are you telling yourself? So it's just like before you go for a major presentation. Right? You feel all those butterflies in your tummy. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to fail. Oh my God. But at that point,
which is normal. Which is normal.
Which is normal. But at that point, what are you telling yourself? So I always find that for me, what has worked for me is affirmations. So I remind myself, Glory, you've done this a million times. You are not going to fail. Glory, you deserve to be in this room. You've done X, Y, and Z. And even if somebody tells you you shouldn't be here, you have evidence, you have receipts that you can say, actually, no, I did X, Y, and Z, and that's why I'm in this room. I'm a person of value, and I have something to contribute. So it really starts with, because the world is going to knock you down, whether you deserve to be in a room or you don't deserve to be in a room. But it really starts with the internal, right? Making sure you are aware of your strengths and your capabilities, making sure you understand how to communicate those strengths in a compelling way, because that's another thing I find. People are sometimes aware of their skill, but they don't know how to communicate it in a way that is compelling, in a way that gets them noticed. So really, communication is such a valuable skill in this century and in these times. So understanding your skills, knowing how to communicate it, and knowing how to decipher negative self-talk and talk to yourself in a positive, affirming way so that you can build up your confidence and you can even shut down naysayers as well.
Glory, you know, as you were talking, I was just dancing on my seat.
Me too.
You know why? Because this is an area where I have had to coach people, even CEOs, you know, the power of self-talk. You know, Vincent Peale talked about negative and positive, what you call, I can't quite get it now, but he talked about negative and positive. The area where what you call niche. I am sure that this also helps, like I said earlier, you can be the best copycat ever. The area where you have a niche, I'm sure it can help you also in building confidence and being able to. I have also noticed that people can know it, but how to teach it, how to communicate it becomes a no-no. So I'm sure the area of your niche, you want to talk about that. Finding
yes, I think that is
your
very
purpose
valuable
in life.
I think that is so valuable. So like you said, you can be the best copycat, but you can't copy my charisma. You can't copy the way I speak. You can't copy the way I smile, all of that, That is my unique selling point.
That's it.
So what I tell professionals is this, right? What do you want to be known for? And I think many professionals haven't sat down to really think about that. What are your specific skills, personal disposition, experience leading you towards? What are the things you enjoy? These are the things that help you niche down. And then you understand the value you can deliver to the world, right? So for example, I'm a career coach and I teach specifically on LinkedIn. I teach about communication. I teach about how to identify your skills, communicate your skills, and write great content on LinkedIn so you get noticed. And this is because that is what my experience has led me to. This is my niche. This is my zone of genius, if you will, right? Now, there are other career coaches that talk about work-life balance. You won't see me play in that space because that's not my niche, right? But when you understand your zone of genius, where you understand where you offer the most value and you're confident, you're growing confidence in it, you're growing mastery, because mastery is so important, right? You're growing mastery in that. You're niching down. You're understanding the needs, specific needs of the people that you serve, the companies that you serve, and how your skills are helping to deliver them outcomes. That really helps to build your confidence as well.
If we circle back to LinkedIn and opportunities on that social media platform, if you could identify tips or perhaps the greatest tip that somebody could have in terms of navigating that time, what would you say that is?
Create content. Create content. Like, I think that LinkedIn, so few people are creating content on LinkedIn. So you mentioned 500 million users on LinkedIn. I think it's even closer to 700 million at the moment, right? Only a very small percentage of people are creating content. So this is the right time. There is space, there is room for you to be seen on LinkedIn. And I think content is the best way to go.
When you say content, what specifically do you mean? Because perhaps my understanding of LinkedIn is outdated because I just thought it was typing in your qualification, like a CV based. I literally thought it was just a CV and your picture and that was it.
No, you can actually create articles. You can publish articles and posts on LinkedIn. So long form articles of about 2,000 characters or more. Or rather 2,000 words or more, or shorter posts of about 200 words or more. So you can create two types of LinkedIn content.
Can you post your dexterity in broadcasting news, for example? Can you post it there?
Yes. You can showcase, and you can even put features. So for example, I'm going to, if this is on YouTube, I can put the link on my LinkedIn profile, so people can see that, this is demonstrating social proof of my competency by putting the fact that I was on a rise, and here's the link that you can watch.
All right.
So for journalists, you can even showcase that as well.
Okay, you talked about competency. I'm going to ask you this question. If we have time, you answer it, or we can start it and then break and come back. All right, you don't have time to answer it. So we will take break and keep you on pause, Glory. When we return, and ask you the question on competency. You're still watching Arise, the morning show. We'll be back in a bit. Stay with us. We're still discussing with our guest, Glory Edozien. Glory, you're still there. We're talking about competency, yes. It's key in whatever one does. I mean, if you're not competent, just forget it. Nobody will look at you. You just stand out. I mean, if you're competent. And the question now is, it shows you know what you're about and breeds patronage, of course. Talk about it and how this can be demonstrated using using LinkedIn, rather.
Okay, so competency, like you said, is really about mastery. It's about competency and mastery, and sharing content on LinkedIn is a way to demonstrate that. So for example, you understand, all the work you've been doing, all the projects, sharing about, unique things that you've done in your work. And it's not necessarily only about self-promotion, because I find that a lot of professionals now are showcasing when they win awards or accolades and things like that. And that is really great. But what about writing articles about what's happening in your industry, topical issues? So, for example, I've been following a lot of professionals around the world who are talking about how coronavirus is affecting, various areas in their business. So maybe agriculturalists or people that are involved in agriculture or finance are talking about the impact of coronavirus on the world economies or on food supply or on supply value chains and things like that, When you start to write articles like this that are topical, it showcases your knowledge in your industry. It showcases that, you are really up to date with what's happening in your industry. So that's one way that creating content can help you to demonstrate competency.